The waking brain is never at rest. Our mind is constantly storing new memory and continuously playing videos of our adventures through life. Daydreaming is very frequent for us. It provides a constructive, risk-free area for us. We're able to explore fearful situations. We're able to problem solve, explore the future, and imagine new adventures. There are two different types of daydreaming. There's a good version, which is called positive constructive, and there's a bad version that's called dysphoric. Positive constructive is where our bubblegum dreams are. It's where we're just able to imagine about anything and it's wonderful. And the bad version, which is dysphoric, is where failure or punishment affects your daydreams. And this is what happens when you have a mental illness. A lot of your daydreams happen in dysphoric. But most of the time, people don't realize when they're daydreaming. For example, if you're in your history class and you just read a passage and you have no idea what the passage was over, you were just daydreaming. We have something called the default network of neurons. This is what cues our daydreaming. This is where we appear more active when we're performing a task that doesn't involve a lot of focus, so we're able to mind wander. It plays a critical role in how we develop our sense of self. It's how we vision ourselves, how we're able to place ourselves into our brain. And it also helps in integrating the outside world into our inner lives. It sets the environment for our daydream. There are plenty of benefits of daydreaming. We're able to store an idea in our brain, and we're able to let it incubate for a while, and we're able to come back to it and have an idea that is way better than what we got at first. We have a natural tendency to daydream, so it's very simple to just drift away in a daydream, even when it's dozing off in history class. And it does help us to avoid a discomfort with unpleasant tasks, like when you're going to the dentist, but you're afraid of the dentist. So you're going to imagine the dentist as a place where you get endless money or there's bubblegum falling from the sky. And the greatest value is when you actually are aware when you're daydreaming. You're able to manipulate your daydreams to match whatever you're feeling. And when you're actually aware and when you stop paying attention to something, this is where you go into metacognition. You're aware of what you're doing and what your mind is actually wandering about. In our brain, we have 3 cortex that help us with daydreaming. There's a medial prefrontal cortex. That's acknowledging other people's sense of self and thoughts and feelings. This is where we're able to see our thoughts and say, yes, this is my thought, this is what I'm thinking. We also have the posterior cingulate cortex. It draws up our personal memories. We're able to remember as a child when we first lost our first tooth, or just yesterday, meeting your grandma. And we also have the parietal cortex. It interacts with the hippocampus, which stores episodic memories in our brain. So this is our type of memories that include what you had for breakfast this morning or what you wrote on your to-do list for the day. It's not the facts that need to be stored in a special place because they're just little facts. You don't really need to know them. And when healthy daydreaming goes bad, there are several ways daydreaming can go bad, but there are a lot of good things, keep in mind. A lot of the bad things can come from the medial prefrontal cortex failing to engage. So that means when you're thinking, you're not able to think of a sense of self. This is connected to schizophrenia. This is where someone is thinking of something, but their prefrontal cortex is not able to connect that with themselves. So if I had a thought right now, I wouldn't be able to tell that that is my own thought. I would think that that was somebody else talking in my brain because I'm not aware of what is actually happening. And a preoccupation on regret or emotional trauma can appear as a default of network failing to engage. A lot of your daydreams can go wrong from thinking of times when you were in harm or in danger. It can override your other thoughts in much the same way that daydreaming can override your other complete thoughts. But while there are some downsides to losing yourself in daydreaming, clearly there are benefits to it all. So my question to you would be, what would it take for you to stop thinking of the negative stereotypes of daydreamers?